The theory of evolution proves you can achieve great things with slow, steady progress. Just look at the Kia Sorento. When the first was launched in around 2003, it was a rough and ready but affordable way into a large family SUV. When the Mark II arrived in 2010, it became a large family SUV that was rather more sophisticated and that had 7 seats. The Mark III arrived in 2015 and it was still an affordable large family SUV with 7 seats, but it had pushed even further up market with impressive quality, generous equipment and a sophisticated driving experience. Now this 4th generation Sorento is with us, we're expecting more of all that stuff with some sharp, imposing looks on top. Let's see if it delivers. First, here's a quick reminder to subscribe to the CarGurus UK YouTube channel, where you can find loads more brilliant car reviews from our team of experts. It's also well worth hitting the bell icon because that turns on notifications, meaning you'll always be the first to know when a new CarGurus UK video goes live. The styling of the new Sorento certainly helps it to stand out. At the front, you've got this upright flat nose with LED lights to accentuate the angular styling, and a bulge in the bonnet makes it quite aggressive and shouty. And then if you move to the back, we've got these 2-part rear lights in a recessed tailgate, and if you squint and look at it, it looks a little bit like a Mustang, and you don't really get much shoutier than that. It is very, very different to the far more conservative styling of previous Sorentos. Practicality is make or break for any 7-seat SUV, and with this one, as you can see, even with the 7 seats in place, there is still a decent amount of boot space. You could probably put in a single pushchair and some bags of shopping, but if you've got a double buggy, these seats are going to have to come down. Folding the 2 rearmost seats gives you a truly massive boot that's as generous as anything in the class. And for weekend trips to the dump or collecting your eldest offspring from university, converting the car to 2-seat mode gives a simply enormous load space. All the seats fold flat and flush too, which makes the space even more useful. Arguably, space in the passenger compartment is even more important, and thankfully there's plenty of it. There is loads of headroom and legroom, so taller passengers will be very comfortable. Plus, you can slide the seats backwards and forwards to provide either more boot space or more legroom for the people sitting in the 3rd row. And then if you do have 3 adults sitting side by side, it's actually quite roomy. When you need to use seats 6 and 7 in the 3rd row, you just press this button here and that tips the seat out of the way. And the same thing for this one. Ordinarily, of course, you'd be climbing in from there, but as soon as I'm here, I'm going to just clamber through here. It may not be that elegant, but there is more space than in most 7-seaters getting into the 3rd row. Once here, things are pretty good. There's enough headroom. I'm 5'4½". But what I would say is that you probably could do with a little bit more legroom, in which case the people sitting in front of you will have to slide their seats forward. But that's no hardship because they've got plenty of space. Kids, however, should be very happy back here for fairly long journeys. Well, as happy as kids can be on a long journey. In any event, there is a lot more space here than a lot of 7-seaters. If it's the driver's seat that you'll be occupying, then life is pretty rosy. As you'd expect from a large SUV, there is a great commanding view of the road and you tower above most other vehicles on the road, apart from other large SUVs, of course. And even on the entry-level 2 model, which is this one, we've got plenty of adjustment in the steering wheel and in the seat, although the seat is manually adjustable in this car, and on posher trims it's electrically adjustable. Right in front of you sits this digital instrument panel which displays all the relevant information neatly and clearly without the need for dials, and this 8-inch touchscreen in the middle takes care of all of your infotainment functions, although again the posher trims get a bigger 10.25-inch screen and built-in sat-nav. Most of the other infotainment functions you'd want are supported by the more basic system, and because it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, you can use your phone sat-nav, which is just as good. The system is easy to use, the screen is sensitive and the graphics are clear. What might surprise you about the Sorento's interior though is how upmarket it feels. Okay, you're probably not going to mistake it for an Audi or a BMW, but you'll find most parts of the interior finished with glitzy trims, cushioned soft touch plastic or tactile textured surfaces. So it feels impressively classy and the build quality also feels very robust. The Sorento feels sophisticated in here then, but does it have a driving experience to match? Well, before we find out, let's do 5 things you need to know. Number 1 is trim levels. As we've already mentioned, this is the entry level known as the 2, and it still has a lot of luxury equipment. You've got alloy wheels, automatic lights and wipers, heated front seats, dual zone climate control, adaptive cruise control, all-round parking sensors with reversing camera and an extensive suite of sophisticated safety tech. That'll be plenty for most people, although 3 adds leather upholstery and a power tailgate, while 4 adds a panoramic roof and 360-degree camera. Number 2, engines. You can have a 2.2 litre diesel which puts out about 200 horsepower, or you can go for a hybrid which combines a 1.6 litre petrol engine with an electric motor which has a combined output of about 226 horsepower. That'll change once number 3 comes along though, because number 3 is the forthcoming plug-in hybrid version. Kia hasn't released any facts and figures yet, but the PHEV Sorento, due later in 2021, will be able to travel significant distances on battery power alone, delivering impressive overall economy for those who can charge it regularly. Number 4, prices. At the time this video was made, prices start at just under £39,000 for the Hybrid 2 trim and top out at just under £47,000 for the Hybrid 4 trim, and the only diesel on offer is the 3 at £41,000. Number 5, warranty. The Sorento, as with all Kias, comes with the industry's leading warranty, which is 100,000 miles or 7 years. Not only does that give you peace of mind, but it's also fully transferable in case you sell the car. So that should help with residual values and longer term ownership costs of running a Kia Sorento. The Sorento that's expected to be the best seller is the one we're driving today, which is the hybrid. And it's a self-charging hybrid, so it's not one that you need to plug in. It harnesses energy that would otherwise be lost under braking and deceleration and uses that energy to charge the batteries. This means that while the car can run on electric-only power, this doesn't happen very often. And even when it does, it only happens for short periods at low speeds. Instead, the electric motor concentrates on assisting the petrol engine. There's an extra slice of shove you get when pulling away or driving along at low speeds. And then when you're driving along a bit faster, the petrol engine has enough muscle to be able to cope with that. Don't get too excited though, it is not a fast car by any stretch of the imagination, but for its size and weight, it's pretty good. The 6-speed automatic gearbox can get a little flustered if you ask for lots of acceleration all at once, and takes a couple of seconds before shifting down to an appropriate gear, whereupon the engine is made to work rather hard. But otherwise, the gearbox behaves smoothly and unobtrusively. We've had a go in the diesel. It doesn't have as much power as the hybrid, but it does have a lot more low and mid-range torque. So it feels just as quick as the hybrid, and your progress is a little more relaxed. Those who tow will also want to know that the diesel can pull a maximum of 2,500 kilos, compared with the hybrid's very average limit of 1,650. The Sorento also feels relaxed in other ways because all versions ride in a smooth, settled manner, especially at motorway speeds. It's also worth noting here that the 2 trim that we're driving today is fitted with 17-inch alloy wheels, and the tyres with their large profiles are almost balloon-like, and they just absorb all the little ruts and bumps that you get on urban roads, so it feels particularly comfy. That's despite the fact that the more expensive trim levels with their 19-inch wheels also come with self-levelling rear suspension, which will be an especially attractive prospect for those who tow or regularly carry heavy loads. The handling isn't half bad either. Okay, it's not quite as nimble as a Seat Taraka or a Skoda Kodiaq, but it does feel like there's plenty of grip in the corners, and there's minimal body roll when you change direction, and the steering helps us as well. There's a reassuring weight to it when you're driving with some pace, and then when you're driving at slower urban speeds, it's lightweight, which makes parking manoeuvres quite easy. So, like every Sorento before it, the latest version really moves things on in the Sorento story. It's more practical than ever with a roomier cabin and a huge boot, while it's also more civilised than ever with sharp looks, an upmarket feeling cabin and good comfort. Granted, it's no longer that affordable, with most models costing more than £40,000. However, that can be justified by the car's all-round ability and lots of luxury kit and clever technology. So if you're after a large family SUV that can seat 7 in style and comfort, it should definitely be on your shortlist. We'd love to know if you agree with our verdict on the 2020 Kia Sorento, so feel free to tell us in the comments below. And remember to like and subscribe as well. Please do browse our channel for lots more new and used car reviews, and to find a great deal from a top-rated dealer on your next car, head over to cargurus.co.uk.